Good. Okay, good. We're on page 14, and we're going to do Canada's history. Did everybody have a chance to read it? Page 14? It was okay?
For me,
Okay. Okay, good. Okay, we need a volunteer. Let's see. Canada's history, Aboriginal people. Let's see. Diala, would you like to start reading where it says Aboriginal peoples, please? I'm just
Okay.
I'm just going to mute somebody because their child in the background is a little. There we go. Okay. Okay.
Okay, Aboriginal people. When Europeans explored Canada, they found all regions occupied by native people they called Indians. Because the first explorer thought they had reached the East Indian, the native people lived off the land, some by hunting and gathering, others by raising groups. The horn-winded of the Great Lakes region, like the Iroquois, were farmers and hunters. The Cree and Dene of the Northwest were hunter-gatherers. The Sixos were nomadic, following the bison, buffalo herd. The Inuit lived of Arctic wildlife. West Coast natives preserved fish by drying and smoking. Warfare was common among Aboriginal groups as the competed for land, resources, and prestige.
Very good. Very good. Very good. Okay. So Aboriginal people. So these are the different. This will probably be a question. There will probably be one or maybe two questions about Aboriginal peoples. So let's make sure we all understand Aboriginal peoples. So it says when the Europeans first came to Canada, they thought they were in the East Indies. And so that's why they called the people Indians. So the name Indians is really a mistake for Canada, but nobody changed it. Yeah, so they thought they were in the East Indies. It says the native people lived off the land, hunting and gathering and raising crops. So the different groups of native people are sometimes a question. So one of them is the Huron-Wendat of the Great Lakes region. That's where we are. So these people, the Aboriginal people that lived in this area, was the Huron-Wendat group. And the Iroquois were a group of those. And they were farmers and hunters. So they grew their food and they hunted their food. And then the next group is the Cree and the Dene, and they were in the Northwest. So if you think of Canada, the map, you go to the west and then the north. That's where they were. And they were hunter-gatherers. So they didn't grow food. They hunted animals and they gathered things like berries and wild vegetables. And then the other one, this one here is it's a difficult name to say. The way you say that is the Sioux. You don't hear the X in that word. The Sioux were nomadic. This word nomadic. Nomadic means they don't stay in one place. They're always moving. So they're always moving. They don't have one place they stay. And they were always moving because they were hunting the buffalo. And does everybody know, I think before we talked about the buffalo, does everybody know what a buffalo is?
Yes, I know.
You know what a buffalo? Really, really big animals.
Yeah, I watch a lot of movies about the buffalo for last time, maybe 1 year ago.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah, so when the Europeans came to Canada, there were millions of buffalo in Canada. millions. There were so many. But the Europeans killed a lot of the buffalo. So the Sioux, they would follow and live. Their main way of living was the buffalo. They used their food. They used their fur. They made their houses from the buffalo. Yeah, so they were in the west area, the west of Canada, the Sioux. And then the other one is called the Inuit. And I think we talked a little bit about the Inuit. The Inuit lived off Arctic wildlife. So Arctic wildlife. Arctic means the north. So the Inuit, remember that means the people. And so the Inuit lived off Arctic wildlife. They would hunt, seals and polar bears and animals like that, and walruses. They lived off, and fish in the Arctic in the north. And finally, the West Coast. This is right at British Columbia. There is a large group of Aboriginal people living on British Columbia, and they did a lot of fishing. And so they would dry the fish and smoke the fish. So try to remember the names of these groups, because this is probably a question. Huron-Wendat, they were farmers and hunters. The Cree and Dene, they were hunter-gatherers. The Sioux, they followed the bison. They were nomadic. The Inuit lived off Arctic wildlife, and the West Coast natives, they preserved fish. Those are the type of questions they will ask. And then the other thing it says here, warfare was common among Aboriginal groups. So we have 5 different Aboriginal groups, and they would fight each other. So because they would fight for land, or they would fight for resources. Maybe they would fight for animals. And the last word, it says they would competed for land, resources, and prestige. This word here, prestige. Prestige means where you are, like a number. Are you in the number 1 group? Are you the number 2 group? So people would want to try to be the number 1 group. Prestige. That's what prestige is. Very good. Does everybody understand that? Is that okay for everybody?
Yeah.
So Zaniba, that's okay?
Yes.
Good, good. Okay, very good. And then let's see. Mohammed, would you like to read the next part where it says the arrival of European traders? Can you read
Yes.
that part, please?
The arrival of Europeans, traders, missionaries, soldiers, and colonists changed the native way of life forever. Large numbers of Aboriginals died of Europeans' disease, to which they lacked immunity. However, Aboriginals and Europeans formed strong economic, regional, and military bonds in the first 200 years of Constance's, which laid of foundations of Canada.
Yeah, very good, very good. Good. Okay, so again, let's see what kind of questions they would ask here. So the Europeans, they arrived and they were traders, missionaries, soldiers, and colonists. So traders are business people. They just want to make money. So they would trade for the beaver pelts. Missionaries are religious people. They want to make everyone Christian. So they would come and they tried to make the Aboriginal people Christian. Soldiers, they would fight. So they would have guns and fight. And colonists are the ones who build houses and farms. Yeah, so they changed the native way of life forever, all these groups. Large number of Aboriginal died. Yeah, so it says many Aboriginal people died of the diseases which the Europeans had. Just like now, people don't have immunity, they can't protect ourselves from COVID-19. So back then, it was the same for the Aboriginals. They would, the Europeans had diseases which the Aboriginals couldn't protect themselves from. So many Aboriginal people died of diseases because of the Europeans. But after a long time, after many years, the Aboriginal people and the Europeans worked together. And it says they formed strong economic, religious, and military bonds. So that means they worked together for trade and money, for usually beaver pelts. Religious, sometimes the Aboriginal people became Christian. And then military, they fought together. When America attacked Canada, when the United States attacked Canada, the Aboriginal people fought with the Canadian Europeans. So they fought together to protect Canada. It says in the first 200 years of coexistence, which lay, so the 200 years of coexistence, that means living together, and it laid the foundations of Canada. So it made Canada the strong country it is today because of the working together with the Aboriginal people. Yeah, very good. So the questions they might ask there are, you know, did European change their way of life forever? They formed strong economic and religious and military bonds. Those are the kind of questions they would probably ask. Does everybody understand that one?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Okay, good. Okay. Okay. There's not much reading today. I'm just going to go to the side here because I want to show you some pictures here. Okay. Let's go to the top here. You can see in your books this picture better than maybe you can on the screen. But it says the one at the top, that's a fur trade area. That's like a typical Indian area where they're living. So these tents, they're called teepees. And they could move those. So that's what they lived in. They're called teepees. And I don't know if anybody lives in Kitchener, but there's some teepees in Kitchener. I don't know if in Victoria Park, there are some Aboriginal people living there now in Victoria Park, and they have teepees. So you can see a teepee now. It's kind of an interesting house, really. Okay, so that's the Aboriginal people. And then the next part is talking about the bottom part we're going to read, so we won't worry about that picture right now. Okay, so let's see. We don't have a lot. We got to make sure everybody gets a chance to read. Okay, let's see. Rashid, would you like to do this part here, the first Europeans, please?
Okay. The Vikings from Iceland who colonized Greenland 1,000 years ago also reached Labrador and the island of Newfoundland. The remains of their settlement and Meadows are a World Heritage Site. European exploration began in earnest in 1497 with the expedition of John Cabot, who was the first to draw a map of Canada's east coast.
Very good, very good. The first Europeans. Very good. Okay, so the Vikings. Does everybody know about the Vikings? Have you heard about the Vikings?
No.
No? Okay. So the Vikings were from countries like Sweden and Norway and Finland and they were very strong, and they had very, very good boats. And so 1,000 years ago, they crossed the ocean, and they went to Greenland, which is north of Canada, to the northeast, and then they went to Newfoundland. So you can imagine 1,000 years ago, their boats were so good that they could cross the ocean and come to Canada. And so they were very strong groups, but they didn't usually stay in places they went to. Greenland they stayed, and Iceland, but not in Canada. They didn't stay in Canada. So they were the very first to come to Canada 1,000 years ago, and they landed in Labrador and the island of Newfoundland. So there is a place now, the remains of their settlement, that's the French L'Anse aux Meadows, is a World Heritage Site. So if you ever go to Newfoundland, you can see where the Vikings first arrived. You can still see the houses, the house and the area they lived in from 1,000 years ago. And so that's a long time for Canada, because Canada is not an old country. So 1,000 years, some countries, 1,000 years is not a long time, but for Canada, that's a very long time. Yeah, good. And then it says European exploration began in earnest. That means it really began in 1497 with the expedition of John Cabot, who was the first to draw a map of Canada's east. So I'll show you the picture of him, and then we'll talk about John Cabot, because that will definitely be a question. So this is see this fancy picture in the middle? It's all these fancy pictures here. So this says John Cabot, an Italian immigrant to England, was the first to map Canada's Atlantic shore. So he was Italian, but he worked for England. And he landed in Newfoundland and Cape Breton. And it says, the first to map Canada's Atlantic shore, setting foot on Newfoundland or Cape Breton in 1497 and claiming the newfound land for England. England's settlement did not begin until 1610. Okay, so that is important because that will probably be a question. So try to remember those dates. 1497, John Cabot landed in the Atlantic coast, so where Newfoundland and Nova Scotia is now. Okay, 1497. And then, but the English didn't start living in Canada for a long time after that, 1610. So over 100, about 110, 113 years, a long, long time. Okay, so try to remember those two dates because they will probably be a question. 1497, 1610, John Cabot, and Newfoundland and Cape Breton. Okay. Okay, we'll do a little bit more today because there's a lot of names. I don't want you to get lost in all the names. Okay, now let's see. I'm trying to give everybody a chance today. Zaniba, would you like to do this one, Exploring a River Naming Canada? Would you like to do that one, please?
Yes. Between 1534 and 1542, Jacques Cartor. That's name, right?
Yeah, I'll give you his name because that's a French name, so it's hard to say. His name is the way you say it is Jacques Cartier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Made 3 voyages across the Atlantic, climbing the land for King Francis of France. Carter had 2 captured Iguades speaking the Equatan, this is language, Equatan world. Canada, meaning village, by the 15 1950s, the name of Canada began appearing on maps.
Very good, very good. Yeah. So do you remember I said they named the Aboriginal people Indians? Remember I said that was a mistake?
Yeah.
So this is funny too, because the name of Canada is also a mistake.
Canada.
But we kept the name. It's funny when you think of it. So,
Yeah.
okay, so this says 1534 and 1492, Jacques Cartier. And I think there's a picture of him in your book there, but I'll show you on the screen. This guy here, Jacques Cartier. Yeah, this guy here, Jacques Cartier. So he went 3 times. He crossed the Atlantic Ocean to come to Canada for France. So John Cabot was for the English, and Jacques Cartier was for the French, right? And then, so he said this land is now belongs to the King Francis I of France. So that's what they did. They landed and they said, "Oh, this land is now French land," and the English landed and they said, "All this land is now English land." And the Aboriginal people said, "Wait a minute." And so, yeah, and so Cartier. So what he did, they captured 2 Iroquoian, 2 Aboriginal people, and they heard them say the word Kanata. And then they thought Kanata was the name of the whole area, the country. But all Kanata meant was a village. Like a village is a small town. So the Indians were saying, "Oh, there's a small town there. There's a small town, and or a village, or a group of people." And then, but the French thought they said, "Oh, that's the name of the country." So it was a mistake, but they kept it. So Kanata. And that's where we get Canada from. So so he was 1534 to 1542. And in the 1550s, Canada was on maps coming to help people come to Canada. Yeah, so that's the different times. So try to remember with John Cabot, he arrived in 1497, but the English didn't come until 1610. But Jacques Cartier, he arrived in these times, and then they started. The French started living in Canada. Yeah, and I'm just going to do one more thing over to the picture again. He was the first European, Jacques Cartier was the first European to explore the St. Lawrence River and set eyes on present-day Quebec City and Montreal. Yeah, he was the very first to go up the St. Lawrence River. Okay, a lot of new information there. Okay, so let's try some questions to see how we remember some of this. There's not a lot of reading, but let's see. Okay, let's see. Manal, would you like to do this one? Because you didn't get a chance to read. Would you like to do this one, Manal?
Yes. Why did you first explore call the native people Ignatlites?
Yeah, why did the
Yes.
first European explorers call the native peoples Indians? Why did they call them Indians?
Called Indian because the first Cyprian, because the name Indians. Three.
Okay, try to remember what we said. Why did they call them Indians? Remember I said the name
Because the
Indian was a
first
mistake?
explorers
Remember I said the name
were
Indian? Yeah.
called.
It's not number 3.
Oh, two.
No, it's not number 2. It's close,
Oh my
but it's not
God.
number 2.
Number 1, teacher.
Yeah, very good. First time, number 1. Excellent.
Yeah.
They thought they reached the East Indies. Very
Yeah.
good, very good. Yeah, so it was a mistake. They thought they reached the East Indies. And they,
Yeah.
that's good. Okay, and then let's see. Ghazala, would you like to do this one?
How did the native people live when the first airborne Arabian arrived in Canada? Okay. Number 4 of the
Thank you.
list.
I think you're right. Off the land, some by hunting and gathering. Good. Yeah, good. Very good. Okay. And then let's see, Diallo, would you like to do this one?
Which native were farmers and hunters?
You're, I don't know if you know, but you're muted. Yeah, there.
Oh, number
2.
1.
Number 1.
It's number 2.
Let's see. Okay, so this one was number 2. That's okay. Huron, the Huron-Wendat of the Great Lakes region and the Iroquois. So that's the one. That's where we are. So the Aboriginal natives living in where we are right now, they were farmers and hunters. Very good. Okay, let's try another one. Now, let's see. Mohammed, would you like to do this one?
Yes, Brian. Which native is where gatherers? Is number 1
Okay, let's see.
Gree and
Down.
Denny of the Northwest.
Okay, let's try that one. Yeah, very good. Very good. Cree and Dene of the Northwest. Hunters. Good. Okay, now I'm trying to remember who did the next one. Let's see. I think Rashid, I think you're next. Is that right? Yeah, okay. Can you do this one, Rashid?
Which native is were nomadic following the bison? Okay. Number 4, Inuit.
Okay, so remember where the Inuit lived though?
Number 3, teacher.
What do you think, Rashid? Remember where the Inuit lived way up in the north, right? So it wouldn't be number 4 because the Inuit lived in the north. So try again.
Yeah, an article. Beautiful. 4.
Okay, 3, say 3 خلاص.
What number do you think, Rashid?
3, can I say?
Yeah, sure. 3. Yeah. Do you know how to say that? Do you remember how to say that name?
Sio.
The Sioux. Yeah, it's just Sioux. It sounds like SU. It just sounds like SU. The Sioux. Very good. The Sioux. They were the ones that followed. Good. Okay, and now this one is for I think it's Zaniba. I think this one's for you.
look like the same, the question, or different? Opportunities, living of vertical growth. And supporting of the green collection. Is like the which native living of the article. Oh, which native with life. The green, no, that one horn of the Greek Lakes region on the teacher. Is my Wi-Fi is correct or the is correct like the one the question?
Oh, can you see the question?
Yeah, is the question 6, right?
Yeah, question 6. That's right.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they're very similar. The questions, they look similar.
Like West Coast, no, the similar, yeah, the unit. The
Which one?
I choose the 4.
Yeah, number 4, the Inuit.
Number 4, yes.
Yeah, very good. So they're in the Arctic. Very good. Arctic. Very good. Okay, and now we are doing, I think, back to Manala now. Is that right?
Okay.
Okay.
Which natives passport
Preserve.
first by drying and smoking? First by drying and smoking. Was committed Aboriginal group. First one, teacher. West Coast natives.
Yeah, natives. West Coast natives.
Yeah.
Very good. West Coast natives. Very good. And then I think this is back to Diala now, I think. Please.
What type of bond did Aboriginals and Europeans form in the first 200 years of coexistence?
Just for everybody, just so remember, this
Number
word
one
coexistence.
or two.
I'm sorry,
Number two.
number 2. Yeah, very good. You're right. So economic, religious, and military. Good. And that word coexistence, that means living together. Living together. So money with trading the beavers, and religious, the Europeans tried to make them Christian, and the military, they fought together against the Americans. Very good, very good. Okay. Okay, now we go to, are we back at Mohammed now, I think?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
The arrival of European changed the native way of life forever. It's true.
Oh, sorry, my computer went funny. Very good. Yeah, very good. Okay. And then now I think this is for Gazala, please.
Okay. Who was the first to map Canada's Arctic shore? Okay.
Canada's Atlantic shore.
Yeah.
So the area by
Number four for John Cabot.
yeah, very good, John Cabot. Very good. Canada's Atlantic shore. Good. And then Rashid, would you like to do this one, please? Can I just hear your voice, Rashid, there? Can I hear you?
10.
Okay, yeah. 15, what did you say? Sorry, your Wi-Fi is a little funny. Can you try again, Rashid, so I can hear you?
Can I say number 3?
Yeah, number 3. That's better. Your Wi-Fi is going a little bit. Okay, when did English settlement begin in Canada? 1610. Yeah, very good, very good, very good. Okay, and then let's see. Zaniba, would you like to do this one?
Yes. Who were the first European to reach Canada? Who first European? First European for English, French, Vietnamese. Oh, Irish. This is the first European. I call, and first European is like French.
So do you remember I talked about a group of people who made really good boats?
Oh, European English.
No, these ones made really good boats many years ago.
Oh, 100,000 years ago.
So 1,000 years ago, yeah, 1,000 years.
Number 4.
Number
3.
Number 3, yeah, the Vikings.
Number 3.
Yeah,
the years ago.
Vikings. Yeah, very good. They came to Canada 1,000 years ago. Good.
Yeah.
Very good. And then this one is for I think we're back to Diala now, please.
When did European exploration begin in Canada? Number one, 1497.
Very good. That was fast. Very good. And then this one is for I want to make sure everybody gets a chance. This is for Mohammed now, I think.
Okay. Whose exhibition did Europeans exploration begin in Canada? Number 4, John Cabot.
Yeah, very good.
It's
Very good.
similar to first questions. Last.
Very good. And this one is for. Yeah, let's see. I want to make sure I get everybody. Is this Manal? I think now maybe.
Yeah.
So who claimed Canadian land for King Francis I of France between 1534 and 1542? Which name?
Name?
Yeah, which name was it? Which name was it?
Jacques Cartier, first one.
Yeah, that's hard because that's a French name. So his name is Jacques Cartier.
Jacques Cartier.
Yeah, so you can learn English and French today.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, good. And then who? Let's see. This one is for I think Gazala. Is that right?
First European to 6%. A. Quebec City and Montreal. Number 4, Jacques.
Jacques Cartier. Let's see. Oh, just a second. Jacques Cartier. Very good. Very good. And then this one is for, who's this one for? Are we back to Rashid, I think, maybe? Is that right? Yeah, Rashid, I think.
Did the name of Canada began appearing on map sheets number 2 by 1550s?
You guys are fast. Very good. Okay, and then this one is for Zaniba, I guess, please.
Okay. Where does the name Canada come from? From the Iroquois word Canada, meaning village. And number 1. Wait. Yes, number 1, because the last one, yeah, number 1.
Yeah, very good. That was very fast. Iroquois